Hello, hello, hello. I am your beloved Count Olaf. Not really, but you guys already know who I am. Yo, peoples! QShu92 here, and welcome back to yet another reading of Solo Leveling. A lot of things have transpired in the last couple of chapters that we got here. Thank you, Cohagen, for always looking out and always having the link ready for anyone who wants to read along with me. But a lot of things transpired in the last chapter. So let's go ahead and check out today's chapter, chapter 168, because it pretty much ended with a new gate opening over Beijing, where Liu Zhigong just returned from Seoul after, hoping to lend some aid to Jin and everyone. We met Grand Marshal Bellion. Oh my goodness, I have a brand new voice for him.
Grand Marshal Bellion at your service.
I really hope the voice came in for you guys, but that's going to be the voice I give from now on. I don't want to... I'll have voices ready on my deck, ready to, add a little bit, but I'll also still use my own regular voice for characters as well. You guys let me know which one you prefer, the one voice I created or my own natural voice when it comes to Bellion. But let's see what happens after the gate opened over Seoul. And then we have the Monarch of Destruction talking to one of the other monarchs, the one I gave the deep Russian voice to since Yuri Orlov died. And he was speaking to Monarch of Destruction. Thank you, commenters, for letting me know that it was that guy who was speaking to the Monarch of Destruction, saying that, all right, you guys don't do anything because we don't need our monarch's ranks thinned out anymore. I'll handle the Shadow Monarch myself. And then he says, come, my soldiers. And then you see like a whole bunch of dragons behind them. So let's see what happens in chapter 186. And it shows Beru just being bodied into the ground with Bellion's giant great whip sword just embedding into the ground next to him. So I'm guessing this is the result of Beru fighting Bellion. Bellion has been bodying Beru repeatedly. And then all the rest of the Shadow Soldiers are just looking on because the entire landscape is just filled with craters and destruction everywhere. So who knows how long Beru and Bellion have been fighting. But apparently Bellion has been winning. And then we get Beru saying,
my liege, I can still go on.
And then Jin says, Beru, why are you so obsessed with becoming the Grand Marshal?
Yea, I shall become the Grand Marshal and always be by your side, my liege.
Then the Grand Marshal can stand on my right and you can be on my left. Oh, the new right and left hands of the Shadow Monarch? Beru and Bellion? What about Icarus, though? And then Beru just gets giant chibi puppy dog eyes. He's all like,
my liege.
Pouty looking so like, you know. And then Beru just starts crying. He's all like,
the king's favor is him.
And then before he can say immense, the king's favor is immense, Jin just stops him and says, don't. And then Icarus. Oh, Icarus comes up behind Jin saying, my liege, please also give me the chance to challenge the... And then Jin says, you can be behind me. And then we see Tank and Iron just come up right next because I like this little notion by Icarus. He just clenches his fist. I don't know if he did a fist pump like, yes, I get to be behind him. Or he just clenching his fist like, my liege, I shall be here for you. But then we see Tank, the giant ice polar bear, and then we see Iron, his other tank, and they're just behind Jin. And all of them are looking in the direction of the rest of the Shadow Soldiers. All of his dragons and Tusk, the giant high orc that he has with the, Orb of Avarice. Or, was it Orb of Avarice? I want to say Orb of Avarice. And they're all gathered around something in the distance. And Jin is all like, what are those guys doing? And then two of his dragons just aim upwards and then just aim fire blasts, just breathe fire straight into the air. Think Godzilla when he got juiced by Arizawa. Not Arizawa, but Serizawa in King of the Monsters. But only two of the dragons are shooting fire into the air. The other one is not. And they shoot fire straight into the clouds. And then Tusk is just smiling. And I guess he's smiling at the dragon that didn't shoot fire. And then Tusk holds the Orb of Avarice in his hands. Oh, they're showing off. They're showing off. The dragons are trying to show off. Oh, I get it. They're all just trying to show off who's stronger. They're all trying to one-up each other. I see it now. The dragons are breathing fire into the air, and we see it go into the air, streaks of light. And then Tusk, using his Orb of Avarice, breathes, his trademark nuke blast just straight into the air and overshadows both of the dragons. And it is... Okay. I had no idea where Jin was, but apparently he's on an island. And this panel right here shows the giant atomic blast that Tusk is doing. Pretty much can be seen from the entire island, and it's large enough to literally split the clouds. Tusk is just really showing off now. And then all the other dragons who shot fire into the air are just looking like, you didn't have to do all that. They're all looking at him like, ah. And then Tusk is just giving a thumbs up like, nice, right? I love this. And then all the rest of the Shadow Soldiers who are there are just cheering like, woo, yeah, more, give us more. They're not actually speaking, but they're just exclaiming. And then Jin thinks, isn't it cheating to be holding the Marble of Greed? Okay, so it's Marble of Greed now? All this time it's been called the Orb of Avarice, but now it's the Marble of Greed? It essentially still means the same thing. Avarice is synonymous with greed. And marble, orb of avarice. We all know what it's called. I prefer Orb of Avarice versus Marble of Greed, because marble seems smaller than an orb. Even though they essentially mean the same thing, Orb of Avarice sounds better. That's just me. And then Jin is just saying, what are they doing? And Bellion says,
they're planning on making a small place to stay, so you can rest comfortably for the time we are here, my liege.
Did Beru order this?
My liege, why aren't you calling your soldiers back into your shadow?
I just wanted to let them take a breather. They were stuck in the dimensional rift until we came here. Because earlier, it shows that apparently the soldier ant shadow soldiers are just... they're literally trying to make a whole... What are they trying to make? Are they trying to make a whole house for Jin to stay in since he's on this island with them? But Jin says, I just wanted to let them take a breather. They were stuck in the dimensional rift until we came here. Bellion, aren't you sad about the fact that you are no longer able to meet Ashborn, the previous Shadow Monarch?
I was by his side when he was facing the rulers that oppose the Absolute Being, and I self-proclaimed myself to be his first soldier when he obtained the power of death. I have been by his side for almost an eternity, and I have never once doubted his decisions.
I want to hear the story of you and Ashborn. Could you tell me more?
It may turn into a very long story. It was when I was still a fruit of the World Tree, All of the soldiers of the heavens are born on the branches of the world tree in the form of a fruit.
A fruit? You were a fruit?
It's a tree large enough to cover the entire sky with its branches.
And when he says this, it just pretty much shows the night sky with all the stars. And now we get narration as we go back into the city saying, I must let people know about the existence of the 8 armies who may arrive at any moment. I must let them know that a war is nearing. I cannot promise the safety of everyone. And then we get someone cooking some food. And it's Jin. Jin can cook. Your boy can cook. Jin can cook. And he says, ta-da. And he has like a whole spread. And I guess this is Jin who's been doing this narration like, I cannot promise the safety of everyone. Nor can I promise that the world will stay the same as it has been. That's how great the power of the King of Dragons was when I witnessed it through Ashbourne's memories. And then Jin is saying, Mom, how is it? Is it delicious? I never knew my brother could cook this well. The King of Dragons and his army of destruction brought everything in front of them down to ruins and ashes. And such enemies are now targeting the earth. You should try it as well, brother. You should try it as well. Brother's really good at making side dishes too. And that's why everyone needs to prepare themselves for what's to come. And then Jin's mom says, Jinwoo, is something going on? And then Jin says, what are you talking about? When your dad was about to do something dangerous, he often cooked me a meal like this. You really take after your father. It's nothing like that, Mom. I think we have a visitor. I'll go answer the door. Huh? But there wasn't even a door ring. And then Jin opens the door and says, what's the matter? And it is... Is this White? I think this is the leader of the American Hunters Association saying, Hunter Sung, I apologize for visiting like this without a notice, but would you please give us a moment of your time? And then he's walking with the guy in the park saying, I thought I woke up from the eternal... Oh, wait, no! This is Jinho's dad. This is Jinho's dad. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize him. Don't correct me, because I just corrected myself. This is, Jinho's dad. And he's walking with Jin. I forget his father's name, though, but this is Jinho's dad saying, I thought I woke up from the eternal slumber because I was special. And it has an extra B in here right next to because. The eternal slumber B, because. Like the letter B. Just like an extra one in there for some odd reason. I thought I woke up from the eternal slumber because I was special. But then I realized that such miracles wouldn't happen so easily. And since the only people who have ever woken up from an eternal slumber were me and your mother, I couldn't help but suspect it was you. Why did you help me? And then Jin just says, I decided that you are a trustworthy person. If you were a person who would do anything to get what you want, I wouldn't have risked danger to save you. And as he says this, his eyes just glow as a way of saying, I wouldn't have wasted my time helping you if I didn't see you as trustworthy. And then Jinho's father says, so that means it's because I did not try to use Jinho? Yes. I don't know how to show my gratitude. Please let me return at least half of your favor. I plead you. Is there anything you want? And then Jin just says, I don't really have anything I want. However, if something happens to me, could you take care of my mother and sister? Would that really be enough? Yes, it'd be plenty. I understand. Please leave it up to me. I will promise you. And then, wow, what is Jin saying? Is he saying he thinks he might, there's a small chance just on the contingency of something happening to him during this upcoming war, then Jinho's father takes care of Jinna and his mom. And At least Jin is preparing contingencies for just on the off chance he doesn't make it. But we'll have to see as these chapters go on. But now we cut back to the gate over. Actually, it's not over in Beijing. Wu is just now letting us know that this is Wu saying this is the colossal gate in Shanghai, China. So it's not Beijing, it's Shanghai. The giant colossal gate over Shanghai. So thank you, chapter, for correcting me. I had to double check and make sure that my voice was fine. This is the colossal gate in Shanghai, China. And it's not only in China. 8 colossal gates appeared all over the world, and almost all at once. Oh, it's not just one. It's 8. And what was the narration just talking about? 8 armies? And 8 gates have just appeared all over the world? Can't be a coincidence. And then this is Wu talking to Jin in his office saying, Hunter Nim, do you think... And then Jin says, no, they're not. So they're not your army. Yes, they're our enemies. Chairman, do you trust me? And then Wu, with a slight bead of sweat on his face, says, yes, I do. And Jin says, then please trust what I am about to show you. What? And then Jin, using his power, touches Wu's forehead, and he witnesses all the memories of Ashbourne. So Wu now knows. He witnesses all the memories of everything. Not just the memories of Ashbourne, but Jin's memories as well. And it got so mad bright in my room right now. It was just gloomy all of a sudden. I am so sorry. I am so sorry about it being so bright in here. I might not need this lamp after all. Hold on, I need to double check. Yeah, okay, we're good now. All right, so Wu is now experiencing all of Jin, not just Ashbourne's memories, but Jin's memories. The memories he had with Legia, everything that pretty much transpired, including all the moment with the orcs and the high orcs, all of Jin's memories and all of Ashbourne's memories. Wu witnesses it all. And then Jin takes his finger off his forehead, and Wu drops to his knees because, that's a ton of information that you gotta process all at once. And he almost doubles over thinking, impossible! How could such things... I had always thought that the gods gifted a special power to a small number of humanity, and that's why I thought we needed to protect humanity by fighting against the demonic beasts. But if what you just showed me is really the truth, then my thoughts would have been nothing more than haughtiness. I was misunderstanding everything. To think that the hunters, no, the awakeners, are the only people who are able to survive after the true war, as if they're filtering out so that only certain humans live. This is not the war between humans and the monarchs, but the war between the monarchs and the rulers, between 2 groups who possess enormous power. How could this be? Hunter Sung, and you're planning on fighting against such enemies all by yourself? And Jin just says, yes. Then how could we be of assistance to you? And there's a blank panel, and then it cuts to people in a dining hall. And then Wu's there as well. I guess he's gathered a whole bunch of hunters together, with Wu saying, did anyone else say that they'd be coming? And then one of his subordinates says, no, sir, only the 152 countries I've reported to you this morning are all of them. Now, what did Hunter Sung tell you yesterday in your office? I never saw your face become that pale. Ah, I apologize. I shouldn't have asked such a question. And then Wu says, no, it's all right. The army of dragons appearing from within darkness, and the single gigantic dragon who was flying behind the army of dragons. The majesty such that even when every single hunter in the world gathered up against it, they wouldn't be able to even leave a scratch. And the pressure from the power that's enough to burn down all the lands in the world with a single breath. I felt it. Just how is Hunter Sung planning on fighting against them? And then he's on the food with Jin, I guess, apparently. Hunter Nim, it's Wu Jin Chul. I've gathered the representatives from every country as you asked. Where are you right now? And then Jin just used Shadow Exchange to just appear out of nowhere, saying, yes, I've just arrived. Yo, Jin, with your unlimited Shadow Exchange! Or is that even Shadow Exchange? He literally just walked out of nothing. He didn't just walk out of a shadow, he just literally materializes on the spot. I guess asking for your location is meaningless now. And then Wu continues saying, there will be chaos when people find out about it, and some countries won't be able to handle the chaos. I'm aware. Today, and here's a narration that just says today with a comma, and then Wu says, if that's really what you think, the truth will be uncovered to the world. So is is Jin about to explain all that he knows that Ashbourne told him to the entire world? And everyone's going to know? The truth will be uncovered to the world. And then Wu and Jin are just standing there, preparing to explain to these 152 countries everything, telling them everything. And that's the end of the chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, things are looking mighty nice. I must say, they're looking mighty nice. Bro, you're so bright. See, I can't control the lighting. I have my blinds closed. It also kind of doesn't help that my room is at the front of the house, but I am so sorry. I am so sorry if it's so bright in here. Hold on, let me adjust it so that we can talk just for a little bit. It's a good thing OBS has an option where I can bring the darkness down. There we go. All right, I got it at a -6, so that ought to help with the brightness, but good lord, did it get bright in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yet another great chapter of Solo Leveling. All I have to say is I'm actually quite glad that we didn't get like a super action-oriented chapter, because these moments where exposition is explained and there's talking explained, it doesn't feel like it's padding for time, because it's very important that we get this little bit of information. Wu learning everything and coming to terms that everything he thought as a hunter and as someone who's a part of the Hunters Association and as a human just literally transcends everything he once thought before. Not only that, but with Jin speaking to Jino's father, he's coming to him with a contingency on, just in case I don't make it back from this upcoming war, can you please take care of my family? So here's the thing that I really love about Jin. With all this power that he has, he hasn't lost any of his humanity. Because it's very easy for us to see these protagonists, and now it's gotten all dark again. Good lord. Stop making this difficult. Is this brightness okay with you guys? Is this okay? If this is okay, then I'm not going to mess with it. But let me get back to it. The thing that I really like about Jin is the fact that no matter how much power he obtains, he keeps his humanity. Because we see different types of protagonists just gain a whole bunch of power. And sometimes, give me a sec, Cohagen, let me talk first. Sometimes these protagonists gain so much power that they lose a part of themselves that literally made them who they are. But Jin has remained steadfast, even more steadfast in his ideals and his mindset. And his mindset just remaining the same, even despite this insurmountable amount of power that he has as the new Shadow Monarch. But overall, this was a great chapter. But let me see. Let me see what you said, Cohagen. Alright, okay. a picture of Beru crying, one of the key moments of this chapter. And then we got this one image with these puppy dog eyes. Then you have another one, which is AK-47. When you just don't have the time to... Oh, okay, I ain't gonna say the rest of that. When you just don't have the time to mess around with silly incantations. And this last one... Father, I crave violence! I like that one. I like that one a lot. But yeah, Jin is kind of raising some flags. Like, you don't just tell people before a final war, like, can you take care of my family if something happens to me? Like, don't raise those flags. And if anyone knows what transpires in the story, don't confirm or deny. You know how things are done here. If you try and do it, then you won't be back. There's a very strict rule is that I like to experience all that's about to happen when the chapters release. So telling me does absolutely nothing except make it so that you can never, interact with this channel ever again. I mean, ban. I'm very serious about that. But we'll just have to see how things go from here. But let us not overlook the very first thing that this chapter does. I just wanted to give you guys that little disclaimer. Tell your friends so that way anyone's not confused here. All my moderators in chat, if you see any spoilers or anything like that, just remove it, if you please. But let us not overshadow the fact that this chapter begins with Beru getting bodied by Bellion, which proves that Bellion is the strongest shadow he has. So much that he was there with Ashbourne, the self-proclaimed first soldier of Ashbourne back when he joined him. But the fact that Beru kept trying... The thing is, even though Bellion kept defeating Beru, I wonder why they're calling it the Marble of Greed instead of the Orb of Avarice. I don't know. But even the fact that Bellion kept bodying Beru, let me stay focused here. The fact that Bellion kept bodying Beru every single time, and Beru kept getting back up. I mean, it plays back to what Jin said in the last chapter, that you shouldn't underestimate the tenacity of an insect. It shows that Beru just kept getting back up over and over and over and over again, and despite all of that, Bellion just kept defeating him. But he's reassured. He's reassured by Jin saying, don't worry, if Bellion's gonna be my left, then you can be my right. And Igris comes up behind him saying, well, allow me to challenge the Grand Marshal so I can be your right hand as well. Or one of your hand, allow me to challenge. And before even Igris can get the words out, Jin says, you can be behind me. So not only does Jin have Bellion as his left hand and Beru as his right hand, but he also has Igris behind him, so literally all of his bases are covered. He has eyes everywhere now. He has his 3 strongest shadows with him. But here's the thing, I wonder where Greed would stand. Since Greed can talk. And in order for Shadow to be of a high... in order for shadows to speak, they have to be of an immensely high rank. Beru got defeated by a guy who was once a fruit. That's funny when you think about it, because Bellion describes himself as a fruit of the world tree that branches across the sky. And when he said that, it pretty much showed the... I never noticed, but my camera was off a little bit. I'll fix that later. And when he showed that, he's just pretty much showed the stars in the sky. Can I just say how epic is the title of Grand Marshal? I love how the rest of the orcs were waving hands like on a party. Yeah, they were! They were! Especially when the dragons were showing off. Haha, we got dragon fire! And then Tusk was all like, that's cute. Orb of Avarice. Atomic breath! And then just literally splits the sky. And then if these clouds do not stop moving, so you guys can just see my face. Okay. That's one thing I can't stand about natural lighting is that I'm at the mercy of it. And if it gets bright in my room again, it just messes everything up. But I love the fact that while Jin is talking with Bellion and all that, and everyone is like, and Beru's trying to figure out, like, oh, I want to be your right hand, and then Jin says, oh, you can be on this side if Bellion is on that side, and Beru's all like, my master. Oh, thank you, master. Thank you for this opportunity, master, allowing me to be one of your hands. Like, and he just gets all big-eyed and chibi-eyed, and he starts crying. Oh, the favor of my master is. And Jin is all like, dude, just stop. It's like, this is what happens when Beru watches too much Korean dramas. He gets like this. That's the reason why he's like this. But Tusk can use Tailed Beast Bomb. Oh, that's not a Tailed Beast Bomb. Tailed Beast Bombs are literally just giant orbs of massive power. Tusk's is literally a big old laser. He can shoot it's a fire laser that can split the sky. It's crazy. That's why I love this series so much. I'm thinking that Bellion might be a former ruler. Maybe since the system deleted itself, Jin has no more restrictions on who or what he can resurrect. I believe that Bellion is not, in fact, a ruler, but he's just an extremely strong soldier. Because if you remember, I believe Ashbourne had actually, I'm trying to remember. How many wings did Ashbourne have? He had 4, right? Or he had 4, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me. Sooner or later, you'll be the brightest fragment of brilliant light once again. Ramil, I can never tell with the natural lighting outside. But all this is going down. Beru is Sanji, Bellion is Zoro, maybe Igris is Jinbei. Oh, so Jin already has his monster trio then? Okay. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. Ashbourne had 6. So that would mean that there are regular shadow soldiers. You only got to say it once, Ramil. You only got to say it once. But that would mean there's regular shadow soldiers that have 2 wings. So I would like to think that there's one above them that have 4 wings. So I don't think Bellion is a former ruler, but he's just a high-ranking ruler soldier. That's what I think. And we get a little bit of his history. Like, let me go back up here a little bit, and we'll just read through that real quick. And then we'll just go over the information that we know now, leading up to Jin being prepared to tell the world everything about what's transpired in the past and what's going to happen in the future. But let me go back to where Bellion was explaining to him. Let me see. Bellion says, I was by his side when he was facing the rulers that opposed the absolute being, and I self-proclaimed myself to be his first soldier when he obtained the power of death. So when Ashbourne gained his power, Bellion was there. I have been by his side for almost an eternity, and I have never once doubted his decisions. Literally, Bellion is, if you couldn't think of anyone as the right-hand man of Ashbourne, Bellion was that dude. He stood by him without question, without fealty, without even second-guessing his wishes. Bellion is to Ashbourne what Marco was to Whitebeard. That's pretty much their dynamic in terms of servitude and loyalty wise. Bellion is the Marco to Ashbourne's Whitebeard. That's how close that they were. And then Jin says, I want to hear the story of you and Ashbourne. And he was saying, it may turn into a very long story. It was when I was still a fruit of the world tree. All of the soldiers of the heavens are born on the branches of the world tree in the form of a fruit. It's a large tree, it's a tree large enough to cover the entire sky with its branches. Literally just stars. They're little stars. And then it cuts to And then it cuts to Jin narrating saying he has to let the world know what's coming. And then it has him cooking, like your boy is literally Gordon Ramsay, only without the temper, literally cooking for his mom and sister. And his mom knows something's going on because Jin's dad used to cook as well before he was about to do something extremely dangerous. Which leads me to believe that before he went into that big gate that he was trapped in for all those times, possibly he cooked a meal for them as well. But Jin's mom correctly deduces that Jin is going to be doing something dangerous just because he's cooking. And apparently he picked up some cooking skills because he's got a whole spread out. Let me look at the food. So he has all these different, I don't know what this food is. It has like bits of vegetables and what looks to be like bits of meat in there. And he has like little cakes and mushrooms and all sorts of he has an entire spread of food as if more than just himself, Jinnah, and his mom are going to eat. There's just a ton of food all over the table. But his mom correctly deduces that you're going to do something dangerous, aren't you? And he's just like brushing it off, so like, don't worry about it. It's nothing, don't worry. And then Jinno's dad comes to visit, also deducing that it was Jin who brought him out of his eternal slumber, because he was thinking like, there's no other way that it could have been you because your mother came back from it, and when we all thought it was impossible for people to wake up from this eternal sleep. So I deduced that it had to have been you. But my question is, why did you do it? And Jin says, I find you trustworthy. Simply because Jinno's father chose not to use Jinno or force Jinno to do anything he didn't want to do. And because of that, Jin decided to save him. Because Jin says, if you were anyone else, if your behavior towards Jinno was anything else other than how you are right now, I wouldn't have bothered saving you. So thankfully, despite Jinno's father being a little bit harsh on Jinno when we first were introduced to him, and then we find out that he actually loved his son so much that he just tallied and kept note of all of his exploits. We find out that his father was actually a good-natured person. He just wanted Jinno to he just wanted him to be happy, and at the same time put his best foot forward in accomplishing his own goals. That alone was enough to convince Jin that, okay, if Jinno approves of him, then I approve of him. So I'm gonna save him. So in return, when Jinno's father asks, what favor could I even give you, like even a fraction of what I could ever hope to repay you in full, or repay you in any way for, bringing me back from this basically sleeping death, Jin just says, if something were to happen to me, look after my mom and sister. And Jinno's father is all like, is that all? And he says, yes, it would mean the absolute world to me if you could do this. And it says, I promise you I will do this if such a thing were to occur. And then it cuts to Jin speaking to Wu. Well, Wu speaking to Jin, saying that not only is there a colossal gate over Shanghai, China, but there are 8 more all over the world. So these 8 gates, with the armies of the Monarch of Destruction that are about to come through, they're about to come through all over the world. Not just one singular place that Jin can focus on, but literally all over the world. And that's when Jin pretty much drops the bomb on Wu and just touching him on his forehead, just lightly touching him on his forehead. Wu experiences all of the memories of Jin and all the memories of Ashbourne and learns everything. Like, literally the secrets of the universe. Let's just be honest here. He literally learned everything from the very beginning all the way up to pretty much right now. And it just literally blows his mind. It brings him to his knees to learn that everything he once thought of this world was literally not even scratching the surface of what he could have possibly ever known. Realizing that the gods gifted a special power to a small number of humanity for them to survive the war. Not for them to win the war, but for the small number of people, hunters, people who awaken, They are the select few people who have what it takes to survive a war of the monarchs and rulers and rebuild humanity. We've seen this before when we were explaining the whole Cup of the Gods. I forget the official name of it, where they pretty much reset the world multiple times, and only the people who had awakened powers, hunters essentially, they were the only ones to survive. If you didn't have that power, you were literally raised. You were just wiped off the face of the earth. And that's why everything kept getting reset, in order to get it to a point where humanity could survive. But Wu understands that only hunters are the ones who have the power to fully survive. To think that the hunters, Wu says, no, the awakeners are the only people who are able to survive after the true war, as if they're filtering out so that only certain humans survive. Only people with power survive. I see that light slowly creeping through my window. You better not make me bright again! And let me see. Wasn't Bellion like a 100-foot when he made his first appearance, or was it camera trickery? It was camera trickery. It was just showing him front and center with everyone else. Front and center with everyone else. Just occurred to me that Jin has already defeated half of the 8 monarchs. Baron, the Frost Monarch, Beast Monarch, Plague Monarch. He also killed the Giant Monarch as well, Legia. So why are there 8 gates? 8 gates for the Monarch to bring 8 different armies. Possibly? We'll have to see. It would be funny if Jin would have had some help in the kitchen. Let's see. Alright. Let me see what else he said. No cap, looking in Jin's cooking made me hungry. I'm hungry right now as well. And it's only 10:57. I haven't had breakfast. Oh, I need to eat. I imagine Igris with an apron and cook hat on his helmet. Yeah, I'm hungry. Jinwu is basically a god now. Pretty much. A total of 8 gates appeared around the world. The phenomenon of gates for sovereignless armies being generated could be explained if you want me to. I want to find out on my own and piece it together. I want to find out on my own. So I appreciate the want to assist, but I want to find out on my own reveal. But overall, great chapter. And it pretty much ends with Wu gathering 152 countries, the representatives of 152 countries as well. Gathering 152 countries together for Jin to come in and explain literally everything that's going on. The army of dragons appearing from within darkness, and the single gigantic dragon who was flying behind the army of dragons. And I didn't say anything during my reaction, but this appearance of this dragon, we can kind of see a little bit of how he looks. Like multiple pronged horns all over his head. And he's just absolutely massive. And you see like countless dragons behind him, like the silhouette and shadows of countless dragons behind him. Now, Shadow Soldiers, just the silhouettes of numerous dragons all behind him. The majesties that such, even when every single hunter in the world gathered up against it, they wouldn't be able to even leave a scratch. And the pressure from the power that's enough to burn down all the lands in the world with a single breath, I felt it. Literally.
There's a great disturbance in the Force.
I have felt it.
Like, seriously. And then Wu's thinking, just how is Jin planning on fighting this presence that I felt that cannot be beaten? And as he's saying, I've gathered the representatives from every country as you asked. Where are you right now? And Jin literally just out of nothing just appears. He just materializes. He didn't come out of the wall like a la Alucard from Hellsing Ultimate. He didn't just come out of the ground. He just literally materialized in front of everybody. And then Wu's saying there will be chaos when people find out about it, and some countries won't be able to handle the chaos. And Jin is all like, I know, but they have to know. I'd rather tell them now than them find out and not be prepared. Today, the truth will be uncovered to the world. And Wu is sweating at the prospect of explaining everything that he's seen to 152 countries all over the world, who will then explain it to their people. So I can only guess how the world is going to react to the fact that this world has been reset multiple times. Countless lives have been lost multiple times, all for the sake of this monarch-ruler war. It will be chaos, because some people are not going to want to fathom the thought that this world has been basically reset like Zion from the Matrix multiple times over. But the fact that a ginormous army of dragons is coming, inevitably, to literally destroy everything. And with the power of the Cup of Reset, or I call it the Cup of Reset, because that's what the rulers use. I mean, it basically resets everything. The Cup of Reset not having its power anymore, resetting the world is not going to be a thing. So if this war comes, it's all or nothing, or everybody loses. But just think about this for a moment. Just think about this. And I'm off of it as well. I'm off of it. You should use that voice mod for Bellion. It seems fitting for the Grand Marshal. Shonen Sensei, I have in fact actually created this voice specifically for Bellion. So that's the voice that I use for him. I love how the story has good comedy on top of how serious it is. I actually think that's the Dragon King. The whole world will throw their Big Bang Theory to Jinwoo. Okay, so let me just talk about this for a quick second, and then I'll bring this to a close, so that way I can go downstairs and find myself something to eat. Think about this. You are just living your life. You're just living your normal life. You're just going about your business. Not even the thought of a giant army of dragons. The thought of a giant army of dragons coming to your world does not even register in your mind. The concept of giant dragons just coming out of nowhere is so insignificant to you that it happening doesn't come across your mind. So imagine an individual coming up to you, explaining the entire history of the world, the entire history of all existence as you know it as a human. He explains it to you. Explains how the world has been reset multiple times over. How beings known as rulers fought against beings known as monarchs in an ongoing war over and over and over again. How one of these monarchs is so fundamentally powerful that the world has had to be reset because of how often the world was destroyed and humanity just left gone, except for a select few hunters. People that awakened, mind you. Imagine being told that, and that they are coming to your world, and that the chances of people surviving are only those who have awakened powers. Say you're in a family. Just think about this for a second. This is already a lot to think about right now, but say you're a family man or a family woman, you wife, husband, or whatever, and you have a family, and you're the only one who's awakened. Your significant other doesn't have powers. Your children don't have awakened powers. You're the only one, which means that you are probably going to be the only one that survives the oncoming war. If you lose, everyone else who does not have power will be gone. Your entire life, your entire existence hangs on the balance of whether you win this war or not. Everything that you hold dear, every person that you've ever loved that has no awakened powers, they could be gone in an instant if you lose this upcoming battle. How would you feel if you were told that? Just think about that for a second. Hard pill to swallow, isn't it? Jin is about to say this to 152 countries that have literally billions of people connected. So if you can't fathom the thought of such a thing, and it's hard for you to wrap your mind around, think about that. Think about this being told to people with weak mental constitutions. Think about that about people who mentally cannot handle such news. Because not everyone's going to respond the exact same way. Some people will be indifferent. Some people will just flat out lose their minds. But there will be panic. There will most certainly be panic. There always is. There has never been an event in human history where it was so monumental that people responded calmly. Not now. Like, not in this world. Everyone always responds off the handle every time. There has never been a moment in human history where big moments were met with a calm disposition. People would get frantic. People would riot. People would cause destruction because they literally don't know how to vent these thoughts properly. But one thing is assured, there will be chaos. Some people are going to go off thinking, well, if this is going to be the end of the world, I might as well go out with a bang. Some people would just either, try and take the easy way out. Permanent solution to a temporary problem type thing. You know what I'm saying. But there will be panic. Is the king of dragons stronger than Ashborn? Let me put it to you this way. Sachitananda. Oh, that's actually unique. I never said a name like that before. Welcome. Let me put it to you this way. When Ashborn was explaining how human vessels worked when rulers had human hosts, only Ashborn and the Monarch of Destruction were the only ones who couldn't find hosts for themselves because they had so much power. They are literally the strongest, with people saying that the Monarch of Destruction being stronger than Ashborn. That's what people say. But possibly, we don't know, because we've only heard of his strength. We've never seen his strength yet in these chapters, so we just have to keep reading to see how things go. But I've already gone on far longer than I needed to. But just contemplate that for a moment. Everything that Jin has experienced, all the memories that he's experienced because of Ashborn, being shown and told to the entire world where billions of people live. Imagine how the world is going to respond. We're just going to have to see what happens in the next chapter. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought this was a great chapter, and I'm glad it gave me a moment to talk to you guys like this, like just a hypothetical when it comes to the things that are happening in this chapter and in the ensuing chapters as well. But I have to say, I really do hope you all enjoyed. Solo leveling what if episode. What if after Jinwoo explained it, the world, everyone thinks of him as the one trying to destroy the world. Beside that, the villain is always stronger in a way than the main character, like Aizen at the end, like Hogyoku Aizen, or Madara Uchiha after getting Sage Jutsu, or who's another final boss, or Alexander Anderson after he used the nail on himself to fight Alucard. Just think of it that way. Think of it like this. Kamish was described as a calamity that almost destroyed the world. The Dragon Monarch has an entire army of Kamishes. But here's the thing. Kamish, a dragon who was said to have been able to call the greatest calamity humanity has ever seen, served under the Monarch of Destruction. Think about that. Kamish, the strongest dragon we have ever seen, literally one of the strongest things we have ever seen that Jin unsuccessfully wasn't able to make into his own chairman. I said chairman because I was looking at Finna. I was looking at Finna's comment there. I'm sorry. Couldn't make into his own shadow soldier. He served under the Monarch of Destruction. So if a dragon called the greatest calamity humanity has ever seen that no one could really defeat until everyone really banded together, he serves someone stronger than him. If that doesn't give you a good aspect of what to expect from the monarch's type of power, and the fact that his power is put on the same level as the Shadow Monarch's power back when Ashborn was at full strength, and we all seen just how powerful Ashborn can be. I can't wait to see how this thing's go. But all I know is we are literally entering into the final game, endgame. We're entering into endgame territory for this story, ladies and gentlemen, because all we have left is the final battle arc and the epilogue, and then solo leveling is over. I wonder if we'll actually... I've been thinking that I wonder if solo leveling is going to end before Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes out in March. I wonder. It might. But that'll be stuff that we think about later. So all I can say right now is I immensely enjoyed reading this chapter and talking with all of you. If you're new to the channel, I really hope you enjoyed yourself, because what I really always look for new people who come by is if you were entertained. If you were entertained, then I did my job. And that's all that I really seek from y'all, is that you guys enjoyed yourself while you're here. So with that being said, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. I still got my camera settings up. I don't know why I didn't exit out of them. Unprofessional Kyushu.